The desert stretched endlessly beneath a dark sky, the kind that turns gold to ashes before nightfall. Mara Greyhawk had grown up hearing that her people's land was alive, that the wind still carried voices older than words. But it had always sounded like stories, beautiful, dense stories her grandmother told while smoke rose from the cedar bonfire. Now, standing at the edge of a canyon not marked on any map, she began to wonder if those voices had never stopped speaking, just waiting for her to hear them. She shouldn't be there. The land had been fenced off by the government years ago, a restricted zone due to archaeological sensitivity, the sign said. But she had spent the last 6 months searching for fragments, ancient symbols carved into rocks, whispers of a smoking gate, accounts of unexplained tremors. Her grandmother's journal had ended with a single sentence, the gate. Tonight, that sentence resurfaced. One, the wall was no longer made of stone. It rippled like water. She reached out, her fingertips brushing the surface, and the world buckled. A deafening roar filled her ears, and she fell, not down, but through the ground. When she hit the earth, it was no longer sand beneath her. It was soft, damp earth, imbued with the scent of pine. Moonlight filtered through towering trees, but they weren't trees she recognized. Their trunks shimmered, reflecting constellations that didn't belong to the sky she knew. Somewhere nearby, drums echoed firm, rhythmic, ancient. She turned slowly, her heart racing, and saw them, figures emerging from the mist, faces painted like ... Mara held her breath. "Who are you?" The man tilted his head. "We are what remains when time forgets. You carry our blood, but not our memory. The gate answered your call because you still dream in the ancient tongue." She wanted to ask 100 questions, but the forest shifted again. The trees bent inward, and images flashed between their trunks, memories that weren't hers. Battles fought with stone blades, cities swallowed by storms, spirits made of fire and wind. She saw women standing at the edge of creation, singing to the stars. She saw herself among them. Then the ground trembled. The drums stopped. A sound like tearing metal echoed in the air. The leader's eyes widened. "They found us." "Who?" Mara whispered. The answer came in the form of a mechanical scream drones, black and faceless, tearing through the sky. The canopy exploded in shards of light as the machines fired, scattering fire across the sacred ground. Mara crouched behind a fallen tree trunk as one of the elders raised his staff, summoning a wave of energy that shattered 2 drones in midair. But more came, their red lights flashing. "And I do." You, the air roared again, louder this time, and a wave of heat enveloped them. The warrior was thrown backward, his body dissolving into light before hitting the ground. Mara screamed, pressing her hands against her ears, her veins pulsing with something warm, electric, and ancient. She could feel that she stood trembling, staring at the swarm of drones cutting down the trees. Her grandmother's voice echoed in her mind, "When the earth calls your name, answer with thunder." She raised her hands. From the ground sprouted filaments of light, twisting into shapes wolves, eagles, spirits of her ancestors. They erupted, colliding with the machines, shattering them with furious grace. The forest became a battlefield of shadows and light. Mara moved through it as she had 1,000 times before, guided by an instinct older than the earth itself. But victory was an illusion. Drones kept coming, their mechanical cries tearing through the night. A missile struck the heart of the forest, and for a second, all was silent. Then the ground opened, revealing the same blue light she had seen on the canyon wall. The gate collapsed. "Mara!" The elder cried, his voice weak amidst the chaos. "The path will close. If you stay, you will remain beyond." She hesitated. On one side, the crumbling portal that could take her back to her world. On the other, the ancestors she had just met, her blood, her truth, the forgotten half of herself. The elder extended his hand. "Decide." The ground trembled more violently. The trees twisted, their roots rising like serpents. Mara took a step forward, her eyes wavering between light and fire. Then she whispered, "I won't leave you." The elder smiled, sadness in his eyes. Though when she opened her eyes, she was lying on the canyon floor. The morning sun burned the horizon, and her hands were covered in dirt and ash. Her cell phone was shattered beside her, the screen displaying looping static. The canyon wall was solid rock again, still and silent, as if nothing had ever happened had existed there. But the mark on her wrist told a different story, a pattern that glowed faintly beneath her skin, shaped like her grandmother's sigil. She staggered back to her truck, dazed, replaying every second, every sound. But when she looked at the GPS, she saw something impossible. Her coordinates had vanished. The map flickered, replaced by a single line of text. The sea, she held her breath. Behind her, the wind shifted, carrying faint whispers that could have been words or warnings. She turned to the canyon one last time. For a moment, she saw movement shadows of figures watching her from the rock, faces etched in ash and light. Then they disappeared. She started the engine, her hands trembling, and drove toward the empty horizon, the radio crackling with static that almost sounded like the beating of distant drums. As the desert swallowed its taillights, a single feather fell from the sky, landing on the cracked earth burning faintly blue before turning to dust. Somewhere deep within that canyon, the gate, and then, as if breathing, he whispered her name,